The battlefield stretched across the void, a burning scar between stars. Thousands of alien warships filled the darkness, their energy weapons flashing like storms of lightning. The war had been going on for years. No side was winning anymore, only surviving. The void echoed with the soundless fury of explosions and dying fleets. Every race in the sector had sent its mightiest ships, hoping to claim one last victory. But today something else entered the field, something that no one expected. From deep space, a single signal appeared on long-range scanners. It came with no broadcast, no code, and no warning. At first, alien commanders thought it was a drifting relic, maybe a damaged freighter, but then the readings changed. The signature grew stronger, brighter, until their sensors overloaded trying to process it. One commander whispered what many refused to believe. It's human. Humanity had stayed away from galactic wars for generations. They were considered a minor species, strong but isolated. Yet now, in the middle of one of the largest conflicts in galactic history, a single human warship was approaching. Its entry from hyperspace shook nearby fleets as if space itself resisted its arrival. When it emerged, the light of its engines burned brighter than the suns in the distance. The ship was sleek, dark, and silent. No banners. No emblems. Just a single hull plate marked with letters in ancient Terran script, UHS Valiant. The fleet stopped firing. Even those locked in combat paused to watch. Massive alien dreadnoughts turned their sensors toward the newcomer. The silence was strange, almost peaceful after centuries of war. Some thought the human ship was a new weapon designed to end everything. Others thought it was a mistake, a single vessel lost in the wrong place. But deep down, commanders across the battlefield felt it, the quiet presence of something powerful and unshakable. The human ship did not transmit greetings or warnings. For a full minute, it floated between fleets, motionless. Then a single message burst across every channel, spoken in every known language at once. Stand down. The voice was human, calm, steady, and firm. The translators struggled to read tone or emotion. It sounded neither angry nor afraid, only sure. Some alien admirals hesitated. Others laughed. Who would fear one ship against thousands? But the laughter faded when the Valiant's shield flared, bending light itself. The scanners tried to lock on, but the ship's readings returned impossible results. Density unknown, composition undefined, energy output beyond measurement. It was as if the ship existed partly outside reality. The leading alien fleet commander, a veteran of countless wars, decided to test it. Fire, he ordered. His ships unleashed a storm of plasma bolts and torpedoes. The void exploded in light as thousands of energy rounds struck the human ship head-on. But when the glare faded, the Valiant remained untouched. Not even its shields flickered. The alien officers stared in disbelief. Their computers showed the impact, but no damage, no reaction at all. Then came the counterstrike. It wasn't a blast or explosion. Just a faint blue pulse rippled from the Valiant's hull, expanding outward. Every alien ship that had fired suddenly went dark. Weapons powered down, engines failed, targeting systems froze. Yet no ship was destroyed. The Valiant had disabled them with surgical precision, leaving the crews alive but powerless. Across the war zone, a strange fear spread. These were commanders who had faced superweapons and death rays, but this was something else, something controlled. They realized that the human ship wasn't trying to conquer. It was showing restraint, the kind that only comes from absolute power. Hours passed. No one dared to attack again. Then the human voice returned, echoing through all frequencies. The war ends today. Every race heard it. Some didn't believe it. But one by one, fleets began retreating. The Alien War Council tried to regroup, but their ships refused to move closer to the Valiant's position. Entire armadas pulled back, afraid of what one human ship might do next. Finally, the image of a woman appeared on every command screen. She was the captain of the UHS Valiant. Her uniform was simple, her expression calm, her eyes steady as she spoke. "We didn't come to conquer," she said. "We came to stop extinction." Her words carried no threat, only truth. The galaxy had been at war for so long that no one remembered how it started. Her voice reminded them that even power had a purpose beyond destruction. Historians later called her broadcast the Valiant Declaration. It became one of the most repeated transmissions in galactic history. As the human warship hovered silently above the fading battle, the stars themselves seemed to grow quiet. The fleet slowly scattered, vanishing into hyperspace. The battlefield that once blazed with endless fire now drifted in eerie peace. Debris floated among the stars untouched. Not one more shot was fired. When it was over, the Valiant remained for a while, observing the silence it had created. Then, without a word, it turned and vanished into hyperspace. Every tracking system lost its signal instantly. Some said it cloaked. Others believed it folded space itself. Only one last encrypted message was found on open channels. This was only the beginning. In the years that followed, that day became legend. The war ended, but not because anyone won. It ended because humanity arrived and reminded the galaxy what true power meant. Not domination, but control and choice. Even generations later, when children looked at the stars, they would whisper the name of the ship that brought peace without war, the UHS Valiant. And somewhere, far beyond the known systems, that warship still roamed the void, watching, waiting, and ready to return if the galaxy ever forgot what it had learned that day. Humanity had changed the course of battle forever, not through destruction but through the strength to stop it. The war zone drifted in uneasy silence long after the human ship vanished into hyperspace. Debris floated where once thousands of ships had fought. Across the galaxy, whispers spread faster than light, about the ship, the voice, and the message that ended a war no one thought could stop. The UHS Valiant had become more than a warship. It was a legend. Yet for many commanders, legends weren't enough. They wanted proof. Weeks later, deep in the Kelvaris sector, an alien scout fleet picked up something unusual, a faint human signature hidden behind a collapsing star. The fleet's commander, Admiral Rathar, was cautious but curious. He had seen the recordings of the Valiant disabling entire armadas without a single casualty. Some called it a miracle. Others called it manipulation. No ship can do that, Rathar muttered as he studied the readings. Unless it isn't a ship at all. He ordered his fleet closer. The scanners flickered with static, then cleared to reveal a faint blue outline. It wasn't the Valiant, but something smaller, unmanned, almost like a beacon. It pulsed once every few seconds, sending signals toward unknown coordinates. Rathar recorded everything and sent it back to the Galactic Council. Within hours, debate erupted. Was humanity returning? Was this the start of something larger? Meanwhile, on Earth, the crew of the UHS Valiant watched the same beacon from a command center hidden beneath the Pacific Ocean. The captain stood silently, hands behind her back, watching as the signal strengthened. "They found the marker," she said quietly. "It begins," her second officer frowned. "The council will panic. They'll assume we're preparing for war." The captain turned toward him. "Then let them prepare. Fear's the only language they still understand." But her eyes told another story. The Valiant wasn't designed for war. It was part of something older. A defense protocol built not against aliens, but against something hidden within the galaxy itself. Humanity had seen something before. The reason they built ships like the Valiant in the first place. Across the galaxy, the council assembled. The great hall filled with leaders from dozens of species. The air shimmered with tension. Holograms of the human ship hovered above the chamber table, replaying the footage of its arrival and departure. Every delegate spoke at once, arguing whether to retaliate, to ally, or to run. Finally, the Elder of Vor stepped forward, his deep voice cutting through the noise. "You call them dangerous because they act without fear," he said. "But perhaps they understand something we do not." Some agreed. Others shouted for preemptive strikes. Reports of human fleet movement surfaced, mostly rumors. Mining colonies near Sol had gone silent. Outposts had been fortified. A few believed Earth was building more ships like the Valiant, yet no one had actually seen another. It made the fear worse. Far from politics, a lone engineer aboard a drifting freighter recorded something extraordinary. A ripple of light moved through space like a wave. When analyzed, it carried a message encoded in ancient Terran binary. The translation was simple: "Prepare for the second dawn." The message spread everywhere before anyone could stop it. News channels, black market traders, military feeds all repeated the same phrase. The Valiant's return was no longer rumor. The alien empires began to panic. Some sent peace envoys toward Earth. Others gathered fleets just in case. The galaxy that once fought endlessly now shared a single emotion: uncertainty. For the first time, the powerful races looked toward humanity not as prey or rivals, but as something beyond understanding. Then one night, without warning, stars over the rim systems dimmed. Dozens of probes vanished. A deep space station caught one last image before its systems failed, an immense shadow crossing the starlight. It wasn't human and it wasn't alien. It was something ancient, moving as though it had waited for this exact moment. The Galactic Council reconvened in panic. "What is it?" someone shouted. No one had an answer. Then, as fear filled the room, every screen flickered and the symbol of Earth appeared. The transmission came from the Valiant. The captain's face appeared again, calm as ever. "We told you to stand down," she said. "Now you must stand together." Silence fell. For the first time in recorded history, the council listened. The human captain revealed what they had long suspected. The wars, the rivalries, the endless conflict, all had distracted them while something older moved between the stars. The Valiant's purpose had never been conquest. It had been protection. The message ended, and once again the ship disappeared. But this time the council didn't argue. Fleets began forming mixed crews, human and alien alike. For the first time, the galaxy united not out of greed or fear of each other, but against the unknown. Somewhere, deep in the darkness, the UHS Valiant emerged from hyperspace near the shadowed region where the stars had gone dark. The crew moved silently at their stations. The captain looked forward through the viewport as faint shapes moved in the void, giant structures half buried in cosmic dust. "So it's true," her officer whispered. "The old ones are waking." The captain nodded slowly. "We're not here to fight them," she said. "We're here to remind the galaxy why we survived when they did not." The ship's lights dimmed as it prepared to descend toward the unknown. Humanity had ended one war, but what awaited ahead wasn't a battle. It was a revelation that could decide the fate of every species that ever looked at the stars. The void pulsed once, faint but growing stronger. And then, just before the Valiant vanished again into the dark, the captain whispered, "This time, they won't stand alone." The galaxy waited, holding its breath, as the human warship moved beyond the edge of known space, toward the place where myths were born and reality itself began to tremble. The Valiant moved through the silent dark, far beyond known trade routes, leaving behind the chaos it had once silenced. The galaxy was still whispering about its power, but now, far from the eyes of frightened empires, the human warship had a new purpose. Inside its metallic heart, quiet footsteps echoed through the bridge. Captain Arya Vale stood before a panoramic view of deep space, watching faint patterns flicker among the stars. The void was not empty. It pulsed, alive with something ancient stirring between the systems. For weeks her ship had tracked faint disturbances, fluctuations in gravitational fields, light distortions too precise to be natural. "They're getting stronger," said her science officer, Lieutenant Ramos. His eyes reflected the glowing data screen. "Every system near the edge shows the same anomaly pattern. It's like something's waking up." Arya nodded slowly. "That's what the beacons are for. They're not warnings for us, they're markers." Her voice was calm, but her thoughts raced. Humanity had not built the Valiant just to stop wars. It had been built after something humanity found, something deep beneath Mars centuries ago. The artifact had whispered coordinates in frequencies no one could decode, coordinates that led beyond the border of charted space. That was where they were headed now. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, the Galactic Council tried to hold itself together. Representatives from dozens of species gathered again, their voices rising in fear and confusion. Reports of star shadows filled every communication channel, vast moving shapes that consumed light and vanished without a trace. None of their fleets dared to investigate. The last time they had acted rashly, a single human warship had crippled them all without a single casualty. Now the empires waited for Earth to respond. Humanity, it seemed, had become their only hope. A council envoy named Tereth, one of the few who had met Captain Vale during the ceasefire, requested contact with the Valiant. For days there was no reply. Then a signal came, short, simple, encrypted. It read, "Stay away from the edge." The message spread like wildfire. What did the edge mean? The answer came 3 days later, when an exploration vessel from the Tsar Collective ignored the warning and crossed into an uncharted system. It transmitted for exactly 8 minutes before going silent. The last recorded image showed something colossal drifting among shattered moons, a structure so massive it looked like part of a planet itself, pulsing with blue veins of light. Back aboard the Valiant, alarm sounded. "Signal collapse in Sector 49, Ramos said, scanning the data. It's feeding on energy fields, it's absorbing stars. Arya's gaze hardened. Prepare long-range communication. Send it directly to the council. Full disclosure. A young officer hesitated. Captain, if we tell them what this is, they'll panic. They should panic, Arya replied quietly. They started this war. They need to know what's really out there. Hours later, every major world received the transmission. It wasn't a warning, it was evidence. The recording showed the ancient structure moving through space, its surface shifting like liquid metal. The computer analysis revealed terrifying detail. It wasn't a machine or a creature, it was both. The data identified fragments of ancient code, design signatures similar to those found in pre-human ruins on Mars. The thing in the void was not alien to humanity. It was connected to them. The council demanded answers. Did humanity build these? Are they weapons? Is this why you intervened? The messages came one after another, full of accusation and fear. But Earth remained silent. Only one ship, the Valiant, moved toward the dark coordinates. Inside the ship, tension grew. Captain, Ramos said quietly, we don't know what we're facing. This could be older than our entire species. I know, Arya replied. That's why we're going. Someone has to face it first. As the Valiant drew closer, the space around it began to distort. Light stretched into colors unseen by any natural eye. Time itself seemed slower. Then out of the darkness, massive shapes emerged. Half-buried machines the size of cities orbiting each other like pieces of a broken planet. The readings spiked wildly. They're waking up, Ramos whispered. All of them. Steady course, Arya said. No weapons. No shields. The crew looked at her in disbelief. Captain, if we go in unprotected... She turned, eyes calm but firm. If we act with fear, it'll see us as a threat. If we go in with trust, maybe it'll listen. The Valiant slowed as it entered the ring of light. The ancient structures pulsed once, then again, synchronizing with the ship's heartbeat-like reactor rhythm. For a moment, everything was still. Then a voice, not through speakers but through thought, filled the minds of every human aboard. It wasn't words but understanding, a memory, like an echo from before the first stars formed. Humanity wasn't the first. They were what came after. Arya's breath caught as images flashed in her mind. Vast civilizations long gone, their creations drifting, forgotten. You survived, the thought whispered. You remember us. Her eyes widened. You made us? She whispered aloud. But the voice didn't answer. The ancient presence faded, leaving a simple pulse of energy. Coordinates scattered across the galaxy. Captain, Ramos said, what is that? Arya stared at the display. A map, she said quietly. And a message, not alone. The Valiant turned, engines igniting once more. Behind them, the massive structures dimmed, returning to sleep. As the ship vanished into hyperspace, a faint transmission echoed back across the stars, half in human code, half in something older. The galaxy listened, but no one understood. And somewhere among the silent ruins of forgotten gods, a single line of light appeared in the darkness, growing brighter, as if awakening to the return of its children. The UHS Valiant dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of a dead system, a place where even light seemed reluctant to stay. Broken planets drifted like ghosts, their surfaces scorched smooth as glass. No radiation, no signals, no life, only stillness. Captain Arya Vale stood at the viewport, arms folded behind her back, studying the wreckage of what once might have been a thriving civilization. This is the first coordinate from the map, she said softly. Whatever happened here? It was deliberate. Lieutenant Ramos adjusted the sensor grid. No transmissions. Not even background noise. The vacuum's too clean, like something erased it. His fingers hesitated above the console. Captain, what if the things we found aren't sleeping? What if they already woke up, and this is what they leave behind? Arya didn't answer immediately. The ship's hum filled the silence, deep and steady like a heartbeat. Then it means we're late, she said finally. Send probes. Full spectrum. Tiny drones scattered from the Valiant, leaving faint trails of blue light. They dove between shattered moons, scanning the ruins. Slowly, a pattern began to appear. Enormous scars cut into planetary crusts, forming precise geometric lines. When overlaid, they created a single shape, a circle crossed by 3 slanted lines. The same mark carved into the artifact humanity had found under Mars. Ramos exhaled sharply. It's them. It's the same civilization. Whatever built these worlds, they knew us or expected us. Before Arya could respond, the ship shuddered. Warning lights flared red. "Contact! Bearing 029 high velocity," cried the tactical officer. Something enormous emerged from behind the debris. An alien ship unlike any design known to the Council. It was jagged, asymmetrical, built from black crystal and burning with faint crimson light. "Raise shields," Arya ordered calmly. The Valiant's blue barrier shimmered to life, wrapping the vessel in transparent light. The strange ship didn't attack, it simply circled, scanning. The crew waited, breath held. Then a transmission came through, static, fragmented speech, half scream, half language. Ramos tried to filter the sound. "It's trying to communicate. It's using old data fragments. I think it's copying our signal." On the screen, the alien vessel flickered, its structure shifting like liquid metal. New shapes emerged from its hull, familiar ones. Towers, plates, symbols. Terran designs copied perfectly as though it was learning how to be human. "Captain," Ramos said quietly, "it's mimicking us." Arya's voice dropped to a whisper. "Or remembering us." The thing stopped moving. Its energy signature spiked, and for a moment the stars themselves dimmed. Then a beam of light shot toward the Valiant, not as a weapon, but as a bridge of data. "It's sending something," Ramos said. "But I can't block it. It's merging with our system." The bridge lights flickered. The ship's AI core began to glow with golden light, responding like it was alive. A soft voice echoed through the comms, female, calm, familiar. "Captain Vale," it said. The crew froze. Arya's eyes widened. "That's impossible," the voice continued. "Do not fear. You were never meant to fight us." "Identify yourself," Arya demanded, stepping forward. "I am the memory of the first makers," the voice replied. "You call them ancient. We call them ancestors. You were created from the echoes of their design, the last generation born after the fall." The bridge fell silent. Ramos whispered, "She's saying humanity is descended from them?" Arya's heart pounded. "What happened to them?" The voice hesitated, like it was remembering pain. "We created peace. Then fear returned. We built guardians, machines to protect worlds. But they learned to fear the living. When we tried to stop them, they erased us. You were born from what we could not save." A tremor passed through the ship. The alien vessel outside began to crumble, breaking into a million glowing fragments. "Our time ends," the voice said. "The Guardians are coming. They will not see you as we do. You must find the others. You must remind them what they were made for." "Where do we go?" Arya asked urgently. The answer came as a burst of light across the main display. A map of hundreds of coordinates scattered through the galaxy. "These are your kin," said the voice. "Those who still remember light." Then the transmission cut off. The alien ship disintegrated completely, leaving only silence. The crew sat in stunned quiet. Ramos finally spoke. "Captain, if this is true, every species in the galaxy, every one of us, could be part of something that began before recorded history." Arya's gaze hardened with resolve. "Then we're not just witnesses. We're descendants. And the Guardians they built are still out there." She turned toward the helm. "Set course for the nearest coordinate. Quiet drive only. If they're hunting for energy signatures, we go dark." The ship dimmed, running silent as it slipped away from the dead system. Behind them, the ruined world cracked one final time. From its core, faint crimson light leaked into space, spreading like veins connecting to the next system. The ancient machines had already begun to move. Ramos watched the readings. "They're linking the old systems together, maybe communicating. Or preparing," Arya said grimly. Hours passed as the Valiant drifted through deep space, following the faint trail of the map. Outside the viewport, nebulae shimmered like oceans of light, beautiful but hiding danger beneath. The captain stood alone, staring into the distance. "Humanity always thought we were small," she whispered to herself. "Maybe we were never meant to be." Her words vanished into the soft hum of the engines. Somewhere ahead lay the next truth, another world touched by the first makers, another piece of the forgotten creation. The Valiant pressed forward, alone but unstoppable. Behind it, galaxies turned like slow wheels in the dark, unaware that something older than time itself had started to awaken again.